decided to take a picture. I want to go get that strawberry over there, but I don't want to scare the lizards, so we'll leave them be. My big grape is finally starting to put out leaves. The smaller ones have two. The one that looks kind of wilty over there, that's because I transplanted it from the bushes in the front. So I've been dumping water on it like twice a day since I moved it because it's been really windy. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but there's definitely a bee in there. The mason bees have been excavating. There's probably a bee in there too. I see little antennae moving around. And then the jujube that I had in the back that was a Lee that nobody actually wrote online, that they're all floppy and you have to keep them at 5 feet, but I'm growing everything out to like 12 feet because of the deer. So I ripped that out and I ordered a honey jar and I put it in there, and when I was digging I saw some itty bitty little baby praying mantises, so some of them have already started hatching already. So my ladder is here because I was spraying up there because I have like one pair left maybe. I don't know if you can see it from here, but it's on one of those branches over there. And I sprayed the clay on it so the bugs wouldn't eat it. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. Oh, maybe I have two. I'm excited if I get two whole actual pairs. And then I saw that there was some damage here. You can see it, that the leaves are gone. So I zip tied this fencing so it's a little bit more tight and doesn't sag. And then strung out the branches and separated them nicely with my separators. And then sprayed this peach. I don't think I see any buds, but I sprayed it with the clay anyway. What else? The mints are doing well. I don't know if we looked at my Jack in the Pulpit last time, but it's still up and blooming, which is exciting. And I moved some more grapes over here. You can see the wilty ones. And squirrels. Run, squirrel, run. Those mushrooms that I wasn't sure what kind they were, they're kind of melty from all the heat and the dry. So here's that nice Jack in the Pulpit. Looking worse for wear, but still up. Oh, birds. My pawpaws. I gave them all each one of those fertilizer sticks for fruit trees this year. And they're looking a little bit better than last year, so maybe they just need some fertilizer. So over here what we're looking at is I definitely have a nectarine bud somewhere. And I forget where it is, but it's on this branch that's closest to us. And oh, it's toward the top there. Maybe you can't see it because of the way that the light is, but it's up there. Nothing else on that tree, I don't think. That cherry, at least it survived, and that's the best I can say. This was blooming at the same time as the apple tree in the front, so I went through and sprayed it and hoped some of those flower buds actually turn into apples too. That one's that French one, the ananas rainette, I think. Some of the gooseberries here actually survived, so I might get some if the birds leave them to me. And I think down inside might actually be some kiwi leaves, so maybe some of the kiwi survived too. I keep thinking that those are phlox, but I think they might not be. But I'm happy to have them anyway. I had some nice big butterflies visiting to pollinate them earlier, like in the week. So I also strung up the apple over there. You can see the orange twine. The new gauge plum here has little sprouts from a bunch of nodes. I don't know the last time if I had moved the yellow cornelian cherry to here yet, but I moved her. And then I've also got a yellow fruiting black raspberry, kind of the second to the last gauge there, in with the rest of the black raspberries. This pear is still finishing blooming, and I hope I actually get some sets on it too. What else? Isons. So I ordered from Isons the Afghansky pomegranate, and it's finally budding out. It's been in the ground for a couple weeks now. This cornelian cherry looks sad for wear because it survived that freeze, right? But it looks kind of pretty crummy. So I sprayed some clay on it to see if it would help. And then I noticed things got bit off, right? And there were leaves bit off my trees, so I assumed it's the deer sneaking their way through. So I put the things that flash and make a high-pitched noise, if you can hear that. I can sort of hear it, like feel it in my ear. Oh man, that's definitely like a rabbit or a deer pellet, so that's not good. I'm gonna have to check myself for ticks when I get in. So I strung, the plum is really floppy. This is Mirabelle plum. So I strung this one all the way over to the side here so that the branches can separate nicely. I see my branch separator kind of fell, so I might have to snake myself under there to reinsert it. I thought it would set some fruit because there were a bunch of blooms, but I don't see any right now. And then I also put the scaring things over here under the intergenic pear, and then I strung it up better too. And then over here, there's some more grafting experiments. So I got Rosayanka persimmon, which is American by Asian crossed persimmon, that I put on the end of the branches here. I realized maybe it's the wrong thing to do, you know, put it at the end of the branch so you only get like a couple of buds that are the right thing, right? And I think all the trees over here are persimmon except for the one nut coming through the middle, but I can't be sure because I can't recognize them that well. So I figure whatever actually ends up taking is probably a persimmon, and I can be sure of it. And then I can take whatever this year's growth is and then graft it onto, so that's kind of a main branch, graft it onto the main branches next year. Maybe chop down this one here-ish and then make it grow up that way. But where I put the branches, that's where I can reach anyway, so maybe it's good enough. So this is elderberry. This is black cherry. I think the sassafras still hasn't come up. Over here, blackberries. I see a good amount of blooms, which is good. The sumac got hit pretty hard with the freeze. The sassafras, not sassafras, sycamore definitely got hit really hard. It finally has leaves, like weeks later. I took down those two nut trees here. I didn't take out the roots though, and then I'm gonna use these as supports for the tomatoes this year. Here's my shagbark hickory. Hopefully it gets enough sunshine to grow. And then those Virginia bluebells finished blooming. And then the new daffodils that I put in this year are blooming now. They're really cute. This is that variegated Carolina silver bell that still hasn't come up. Hopefully it survived. And then I got white fruiting blackberry that I put in here and then also under the Mirabelle. And then here's the new honey jar. And I had to do a little bit of surgery on that branch and then this branch because they were broken from shipping. And then I had a little bit of leftover tape, so I put it here, but I guess it only survived like a day. Hopefully it holds up long enough for the tree to rate itself in the ground. And then I don't know about this mulberry. It doesn't seem to, I mean, it sort of has buds, but it hasn't done anything yet, so what the heck. Maybe it actually is dead. And I'll put in another thuja, I guess. And then we'll go in the garden. Oh, and these are the willow oaks. So I was gonna take one of them down or out and then move it to the other cage there, but then I have those apricot and plum seedlings that I was thinking I would stick them in that cage instead. I don't know. They got nice, this one's got nice branches, so when it grows up in like 20 years, it's gonna be a good climbing tree. And then that one's a little bit closer to the sewer line, so maybe I should take that one out, but then I feel bad just like chopping down and entirely getting rid of a tree, forgetting the nut trees that I just took down, because there's enough of those in the area that the squirrels have planted for us. I think we've looked at all the trees. I have all these little nut shells right here, ankle breakers from the squirrels right there. So I don't know if we talked about the daikon radishes that I put in that didn't actually make any roots and then just went straight to bloom because we had those couple weeks of 90 degrees here and there. So those just went straight to bloom. there's the white blooming maypop that I had gotten, so I finally planted that out. And then of course it's supposed to be 45 tonight and a couple nights from now, but if the rest of the maypop are coming out of the ground, then maybe this one is okay. And then I did go through and spritz a little bit of water on everything last night just to kind of prep the really, really dry ground to receive the rain. So I'd gotten those pink blooming fava beans, and I'm glad that I did, because now I have a... And then that one's kind of the regular color, the white one with the purple spot on the lip. So I'm glad I got the different colors so I can have a mix of stuff to put in. And even if I don't end up eating them, I mean, I'll save them. If I don't end up liking them, but I remember liking fava beans the last time I managed to get them to grow, and it's one of those nitrogen fixing cover crops that you can put down to make your ground better. So I have 2 strawberry survivors over here of what I planted this winter. And then my bush beans had come up. I planted way more over there. I don't know if they got eaten or what, but I went through with Sluggo one more time because everything still kept getting eaten. So I went through with Sluggo, and I also sprayed with the BT that I had gotten last year in case it was slugs eating everything. So there's more of those bush beans. And then I went through Amazon and I found the cheapest possible ceramic bowls, and this is actually nice porcelain. I had found it for like $8 for a set of 4, and it was the cheapest ones I could find, and now it's shot back up to 28. So maybe they made a mistake and they realized their mistake and now they fixed it. But now I have bird baths here, and I got some nice big seashells. There's one over here and one over there too for the lizards. So that the birds don't peck my fruits, because usually when they peck, I read that it's because they want water. So all my sunflowers, maybe I'm planting vining beans on all of the sunflowers, and I shouldn't have gotten corn seeds because I don't even know if I have room for corn, because it's basically where all the sunflowers are where I was going to plant them. I moved my parsley out. The Experimental Farm Network Ossetia, it's from like the country of Georgia or something, Ossetia parsley, and it says you can eat the root, the leaves, and the seeds. So originally I planted them a lot closer and they were only here, and I had left alone the little tomatoes that had popped up over there, but then I read, oh, they're supposed to be 6 inches apart, so I moved them further apart. I'm pretty sure this isn't 6 inches because I'm bad at measuring things, but I moved them further apart, and then I moved the tomatoes out to the yard. And then whoever this guy is, it's like a squash or a melon or something who had popped up, so whoever that guy is can grow in there too. And then I still have these wallow otters out because I don't know, I'm afraid it's still gonna frost from all the whiplash from frost earlier this spring. I'll clean them up the next time they dry out. So and I had so for this bed I spread manure on top as like a top dressing, because the leaves of this apricot and a bunch of the grapes over here, and then this apricot, and then the gauge plum were exposed. So and then some of the onions were a little bit too high too, because I didn't do a very good job of planting those out. I'll fully admit, like a bunch of them are sideways because I actually planted them sideways. Like I dug a trench and then I just kind of buried them because I was having a hard time with it and I just wanted to get them in the dirt somehow. So I had planted them kind of funny, but now it looks better with that top dressing. And then I had moved the strawberry here a couple months ago, and then that sunflower is a volunteer. Like all of this, I haven't actually planted any sunflowers this year. All of them are volunteers. So I have the tomatoes that I smeared on the ground from the heirloom ones that I got from the store that came up. Those ones have kind of gotten eaten. These ones are doing a little bit better. And then these ones are doing a little bit better too. And then these are the ones that I had moved from that raised bed. I wonder if they're the really tasty red round cherry that was growing in with that tree last year, because I would love if they were, because that was delicious. I still don't see any wild strawberry sprouts over here, but I guess it's okay because I probably have enough strawberries. And then more bush beans that I had planted, and I guess I have passion fruits, maypops coming up even over here. And then beans, and then I'm 99.9% sure that these are ground cherries from what I had planted last year. And then all of my dense plantings of carrots. I ripped a couple out and moved them like I had moved the parsley. That's why they look wilty in here, and I'm hoping that they survive, and if they don't, I would have had to thin them out anyway, so maybe it's fine. And then this is Swiss chard. I only had like 2 or 3 come up, but maybe it's okay. Because there's a lot of haters and I don't remember tasting it before. I like beet tops cooked with beetroot. And this is basically the same plant, but grown for bigger leaves. So we'll see if I like it when I go through and pick it. And then these are the parsnips. After they start going, they get going really well, but getting them started is the hard part. Maybe I shouldn't have pulled that out because now this little seedling came up. We'll put him back in and hope he didn't notice. And they're getting some growth on them. This might be a couple. Oh, it's like 6 of them. That's not good that they're so bunched, but I guess that's just how the seed fell. Not many of those seeds actually came up. Usually when I plant seeds, more of them come up, so I don't know what happened. I tried a different kind this time though. Maybe that's why. This is the like loft house Grax from Experimental Farm Network. And then more bush beans. And this one doesn't look like a bush bean. It looks like it's trying to make a run for it. And then there's lots of that looks like violets, right? Trying to pull out this weed. This looks like a violet. So I had chucked yellow blooming and pink blooming violet seeds around the garden, and I'm pretty sure that's what this is too. But now I might be, well, I do need a ground cover that isn't necessarily strawberries everywhere, so maybe I'll leave it. Because I was going to move all of the violets out to that pathway there where I just have wild lettuce. Because I don't want the wild lettuce, it's kind of stabby. And there's lots of violets. Maybe I'll move a couple patches. This is that cute little blue flower that comes up. I think it's a forget-me-not or something. This is how much it rained this morning. Maybe like 1/3 of an inch. I got my bean stalks up. It says it's 6 feet tall. I don't believe it because I'm like 5'5", so maybe it's 5'7". Maybe they say 6 feet because it includes how much of the pole is in the ground. And then I have more favas over there. You can tell because of the bright fuchsia blooms. Lots of good sunflowers over here. I don't think I see any gooseberries. I definitely saw them all melt off of this plant after we had the frost. It was heartbreaking. And then that week that we had in the 90s, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, before that last brutal frost that took out everything, I had planted 2 zucchini seeds, one over here and one over here somewhere. So the one over here didn't come up, but this one is growing gangbusters. So I might actually have zucchini come June. And then more favas, because I had planted favas everywhere, right? And then that nice lettuce that I grow that doesn't get bitter once it blooms. This is that Lingua de Carinino, the Canary's tongue lettuce from Grow Italian. And then here's a fava bed. And I think what's coming up here is probably more ground cherries and tomatoes, most likely. Another big sunflower. Like, the leaves were so big on this when it first came up, I didn't even think it was a sunflower. It's so huge. And it looks like it's gonna have a head at each node too. So I hope the favas want some shade because they're definitely getting some. I wonder if these guys are actually gonna have some fruit this year. I thought they didn't have fruit last year, but maybe the birds just stole them all because everybody wants berries. Oh, I do have a honeyberry. Do you see that? There's one purple one hiding right in there. They don't ripen until like June though. They're kind of sour until just one. Well, maybe that's what I get for being greedy and wanting all the berries. And I don't know if you noticed, but I have skirret seedlings everywhere. from where the skirt goes to bloom. So I didn't know that it's as much of an invasive, I wouldn't call it a weed, but maybe it is a weed, because look at all of it. There's a whole carpet of it, sunflowers and skirt. So I need to go through and weed more. I did do a little bit of weeding. You can tell because you can actually see the ground. There's some skirt that I missed last year. It must be roots that I broke off while I was digging up what I did dig up last year to put in those pots. And then more sunflowers, and then only the peas in the middle kind of came up. I ripped the tops off of this grass because it was going to bloom. Here's that other bowl with the other nice shell that I bought. I bought it instead of collecting it because I'm not going down to Florida anytime soon. A couple of peas, and then I had planted a couple of cucumbers for pickling. And I thought that there was another one here that was sort of surviving, but maybe it finally got eaten. But these guys finally have their true leaves. So I think the slugs aren't gonna eat those because they're spiny. And then let me see if there's any more over here, because I'd planted some more seeds, but I don't know what that is. I don't think it's a cucumber, but we'll rip this dandelion leaf off and give it some sun and see what it turns into. There's more sunflowers, I think. There's some more peas. They only came up in the middle. There's a strawberry. I made a hole in the straw here for it. Everything else under it was a weed. And I think actually most of these are pine berries, the little white ones with the red seeds. I dumped out the big tub for the Sarracenia and then refilled it with new water. Like all the dirt went over there because there was just like so much debris in there. I figured it's basically fertilizer, right? Rotting vegetation, and these plants don't really want fertilizer, so I dumped it so they get a fresh start. They look like they still have live parts, so that's good. And then this froze when we had a freeze. I even forgot that I had left it out here, but the whole entire pot didn't freeze solid, so now it's regrowing. I have to take a division and send it to a friend who accidentally killed theirs. And then I have to do so much weeding still. Gardening is just weeding. Oh, it's a lizard. So cute. See, completely falling apart. And I think I'll leave the wood in the garden here because I was reading that those lizards, they're actually skinks. So I was reading that they like to live around rotting wood. So in fact, my rotting beds are their preferred habitat. I'm trying to get these fava beans tucked back into the netting here without hopefully snapping them. Ooh, get in there. So that they're not growing outside of the trellis, so that they're growing inside of the trellis. So I should have done that replacement of the metal beds like earlier this season, but I'll just have to do it in the fall. So hopefully this year I don't blow my back up, unlike every other year. And I read that you can actually eat the plantain, and I'd gotten seeds of a red version of it, so the leaves are a little bit more red, hoping to eat it. So it's supposed to be mucilaginous, sort of like okra, so it's supposed to be good for your stomach, but I've yet to try it. Also, it looks bad from the freeze that we had, so I gotta let things grow in a little bit better. I should have gotten all these weeds before they bloomed, right? But luckily it's this thing, which is the mache, however you pronounce it. So hopefully that just ends up taking over and there isn't room for anything else. And then more of that nice lettuce. Oh, I'm so excited. Maybe I'll actually start eating it soon. And I think that's one of those lace wings on that leaf there that eats aphids and stuff. So, and then more lettuce, and then more lettuce over here. And I think there's some more over here somewhere, hiding in this mache. So I should weed out this wild lettuce here. It's spiny and inedible. Beefy, healthy root system. R.I.P. There's another lettuce. And I think that lettuce had actually crossed with the wild lettuce, so I get some interesting ruffly leaves on it sometimes. The one that I have right now doesn't have interesting ruffly leaves because it's actually from seed that I saved, I think from a couple years back, maybe 2 or 3 years back, when I thought that I would have to replant everything after the sewer construction that I had, that I needed to get done. So this one hasn't crossed with the other lettuce that I attempted to grow in my garden, which was that like trout black seed lettuce or whatever that everybody else grows. So that one had made my nice endemic canary's tongue lettuce nice and ruffly. So the leaf surface area was a little bit bigger. Seeing if there's any more gooseberry bush sprouts in here for me to move with the rest of the berries, because this is where I found them from all the roots that I escaped those buckets when I was still growing all the berries in buckets along the edges of where my garden used to be. Strawberries that I'd transplanted midwinter that are now completely overrun by everything else. I should take better care of my strawberries. Give them some more sunshine. There we go. Still not enough, but fine. Get rid of all this wild lettuce and the dirt spilling out of the side of this bed over here. And that might be it. It was kind of long anyway. Oh, there's another lettuce. Might be yet another one in here somewhere else too. A lot of this is chicory. I thought I had ripped all the chicory out, but obviously not. Oh, one last thing. I guess we're not done yet. One last thing. We'll come over here. There's also a lettuce here. And then another one over there. I gotta pull up this thing. What is it? The sticky thing that feels sharp in your hand, but it's not sharp, but it feels sharp. This. I hate it. It's the worst. It takes over everything. There you go. Now you can see the lettuce. And then more skirret. Okay. Now, and some more strawberries in here. Now it's done. This goes over the fence. And we'll call it good there. Hopefully I can get back in the habit. And till next time.